quick little news update today. If you guys saw my last video on Norton Motorcycles, you kind of know the scoop up until now, but I'll give you the kind of looking ahead for what this video is going to talk about. Basically, Norton Motorcycle Company was bought by TVS Motors. They are the third largest motorcycle manufacturer in India. These guys sell millions of motorcycles every single year, whereas Norton was selling hundreds. So what does this all mean? How's it going to look moving forward? What do the numbers look like? We're going to get right into that in this video. So if you're one of the 14,000 people who saw my last video on Norton, first of all, thank you guys so much. That was truly cool to see how many people were checking it out and leaving comments. In that video, I talked about con men, I talked about convictions, little old ladies getting all their retirement pensions swindled, unfortunately, average motorcyclists who were putting deposits or even paying in full for bikes that were never being produced, bikes that were going in for warranty work that were being torn apart for pieces. It was absolutely crazy, the stuff that was happening with Norton. If you haven't seen that video, I will link to it up in the card up here. You guys should check that out. But if you did check that out, here's what's happened since then. According to a UK government report, 331 different parties expressed interest. They said, I want to buy Norton Motorcycle Company. Of those 331, only 169 actually completed the necessary non-disclosure agreements. And of those 169 who saw all the information and everything, only 29 companies or people or whatever actually made offers to purchase Norton. And that was Norton in a very kind of gray zone for a while, because if there was not an offer that was accepted, Norton would have ceased to exist after over 100 years of production. The company would have been dissolved and all the assets would have been liquidated for whatever we can get them for. So obviously, if you've read the title and you've been listening, you know that that's not what happened. An Indian company, TVS Motors, has purchased Norton. Let's talk about what we don't know and what we do know. So the things we don't know is what's happening with all of the people who had previously paid for Nortons and never got them, or put down deposits and never got them. And where are these people's heads at? Are you guys excited about this? Are you guys kind of like really not impressed right now? How are you feeling? Let me know. And considering that we know from my last video that Stuart Gardner has sold plans and patents and stuff that Norton had to Chinese investors, how are future Nortons going to look relative to the ones produced in the last couple of years, and what's going to happen with all that? And lastly, after kind of being tossed through the mud by Stuart Gardner, the owner of Norton for the last few years, is there even any interest still left in the Norton brand? Do people still care for it and love it the way they did just a few years ago? So that's the stuff we don't know. But now we're going to talk about the things that we do know, both about Norton and about TVS. So one thing that I found particularly kind of unfortunate is TVS is really only purchasing Norton's assets, not Norton's liabilities. What I mean by that is if Norton owes you money, if Norton owes you a motorcycle, TVS isn't buying that part of Norton's business. They're only buying the good stuff. They're not buying the bad stuff. So if you've paid in full for a Norton, this in no way guarantees you're going to get your motorcycle, unfortunately, which really sucks for a lot of people out there. Also, if you're somebody who lost your pension to Norton, this doesn't necessarily guarantee really any good news for you either, unfortunately, as of right now. I mean, by the time you watch this video, maybe all of my news is outdated. I'll link to the description box down below. I will link to my article, which I'll be keeping up to date as new news comes in. Just look for the little update section in the bottom. I just want you guys to know that, I'm sure you guys know this already, this is not the first time that Norton's going overseas. Norton at one point was Canadian owned and then it was American owned. So Norton has been traveling around the last couple decades, for better or for worse. But I did find one thing from TVS Motors. And it was from Sudarshan Venu, probably butchered that name, sorry. Joint Managing Director, TVS Motor Company, said this is a tremendous time for us at TVS. Norton is an iconic British celebrated brand from all across the world, presents us with an immense opportunity to scale globally. This transaction is in line with our efforts to cater aspirations for discerning motorcycle customers. I like that they specifically call it discerning because I do think that means that they're going to keep positioning Norton as a premium product. And then the rest of it's a lot of blah, blah, blah. We're going to give Norton our full support, no specifics, no promises, no dollar amounts really in terms of what they're going to be investing here, no plans for the future, nothing really being shared. It's a lot of boring corporate speak that says a lot of words but doesn't actually explain anything or promise anything specific. So I do have some specific numbers for me to share with you guys. First thing I want you guys to know is TVS Motor Company has an annual revenue of $2.8 billion US. They're capable of selling and producing 3 million to 4 million motorcycles every single year. These guys are huge. They're the second largest exporter in all of India. They sell vehicles to over 60 different countries all around the world. So obviously TVS knows a lot of things that Norton didn't. They know how to produce huge volumes of motorcycles and they know how to sell them all over the world. Of course, there are a few things that Norton knows that TVS didn't. They know how to produce a premium brand. They know how to really market that premium element, and they know how to leverage their history. But maybe the biggest difference is that TVS has a ton of money that they can put towards Norton. They can invest into Norton to make it super successful, or they can keep it just a side project. And that might be tempting for them because when you think about it, TVS is selling millions of units. Norton was selling hundreds of units. Now, personally, I'm over here in Canada. I'm a little bit removed from the average British motorcycle fan or Norton motorcycle fan. So here's what I want to hear from you guys, whether you're a fan of these bikes or you're not. Let me know in the comment section. I got a bunch of questions. Do you think that TVS buying Norton is a good thing? Is it a good thing for motorcycling, for British motorcycling, for Norton fans, or is this a bad thing? If you're one of those people who you know someone or maybe yourself was ripped off or caught up in this whole Norton mess, is this something that you are looking at with excitement, or are you just so over it that it means nothing to you? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you like this video, please hit that like button. It'll help it rank, helps me grow my channel, helps me bring more content to you guys like this. And please subscribe for more news. Thank you guys so much. Ride safe.